That's that real talk. It's time to heal. Nothing but the truth, we got that real talk. That's that real talk. It's time to heal. Nothing but the truth, we got that real talk.
Welcome back, Real Talk Mentors in the house again. We're still on this whole mode, this whole flow of how we can bring our community together. And so, you know, to the viewers, to the listeners, we're on a hot topic today, womanhood. I'm sure there's many women that would love to be on the set today, but I've got, you know, some three queens here on set today. Just like to introduce our guest,
Elizabeth.
so to speak, Elizabeth. Welcome, great to have you.
Jade.
One of our mentoring team, and
Venice.
and last but not least, our man,
Karma.
Thank you. So, okay, hot topic of the day, womanhood. What is it to be a woman? It sounds corny, it sounds like a stupid question, but I don't think, in 2020, do you think that's a relevant question?
Yeah.
You think it's a relevant question?
Yeah, of course.
Why?
Because I feel like we're in a time where most people have lost sense of their self, and when they do think they found their self, it's more of just outside views that's given them that impression to define their self as a woman or as a man, for example. So it does need to be asked.
Okay, relevance, yeah. Venice?
For me, I think caring, being emotional, nurturing. I think being a woman, if you have children, being the person, you know, that the children can come to first point. Yeah.
Okay,
Really
all right.
difficult
You're giving very safe answers, by the way, at the moment. I'm going to come to you, Jade, please. What is it to be a woman in 2020? What is woman? What's it all about?
I don't know. I think right now there's quite negative. Like there's things that what's that word? Ideologies of what it means to be a woman. Like,
Okay, to you. I don't want to hear theory.
So
what does it mean to you?
So what does it mean to
be
me? I think
a woman in 2020. What does it mean?
Basically, like what Venice said, someone that's supportive, caring, nurturing, patient.
Right.
You know,
independent.
Yeah, independent.
Okay, good. You're touching on those. So all these values that you're describing these now, are these things that you either do or you're aspiring towards them? I've not forgotten you, Elizabeth. I just need to get into this because we're talking real talk. Yeah, we don't want to be skirting around the edges. I want the real nitty gritty. What does it mean to be a woman? You mentioned independence, yeah? And we know there's a kind of movement in terms of, you know, trying to balance out the roles and the values of men and women. So what is it? What's your take? How do you feel about it?
Like, oh yeah, I can do. I'm a strong black woman. I can do everything myself because I don't believe that. I feel like everyone needs support in some way.
You do believe it or you don't believe that?
I do.
Good, okay.
I do believe that.
Yeah.
I believe that everyone needs support in some way. So I don't think being independent doesn't mean that you don't need anyone. Doesn't mean that you don't call on your friend or your mum or your anyone to, you know, ask for assistance. Yeah. You know, but I think again it goes back to mindset. It goes back to your drive, your ambition, what you want for yourself and what you want for those around you. That will determine what a good woman is to you, if you know what I mean. So yeah. Okay,
I'm still going to come back to you, Jade. I know you've got a lot to say. Elizabeth, I'd like to hear from you. What does it take to be a woman in this society, in this system?
It's more direct,
right? What's it all about?
What does it take to be a woman?
That's a different question. Yeah.
Okay. Answer that one first, and I'll bring it back to the original one then.
I think fundamentally, wisdom is one of the characteristics that a woman needs. Just to be able to navigate through life. naturally, I think we are nurturers. We incubate.
Yeah.
I hold fast to this saying that whatever somebody gives to a woman, she's always going to bring forth. So even if it's you've planted negative, she's going to give that back.
Okay.
So yeah, we incubate.
Okay.
We're encouragers.
Okay.
I feel like the time that we're in now, women we're more tapped into the masculine part of our nature. And
Can I just ask you about that? Is that in a kind of contrast to where men are supposed to tap into their feminine nature? Is that a kind of roundabout thing? Is it?
Men have both their feminine and their masculine.
Yeah.
Women have both feminine and masculine. But it's for everyone to find that balance, that middle ground. And I think I can speak from my own experience probably, is that as a woman, you're often having to muscle up, you're having to be in the forefront. And yeah, that's quite...
Why is that then? Why is that? Is it because, no, I've got to go here.
It's cool.
Karma, sorry.
Go on.
Is it because, not with personal, say, look, we're outnumbered already. Look,
Yeah, I know.
is it because, okay, I've got to go there. So is it a case of then, Elizabeth, is it a case of because men are seen as not stepping up to the plate? Sorry, Karma, I'm just trying to be,
I wouldn't completely put it on to men. I wouldn't say 100%.
Okay.
I think it's a factor. I also feel like the generation that we're in, women are taking, they're more active, they're becoming entrepreneurs. You know, you've got the whole independent woman thing going on. So, yeah, a part of them is them taking on that, which is, it has its plus and it has its...
Are you an independent woman?
Yeah, but I am. I'm
Okay.
at the forefront. Have raised my children as a single mother, so I've had to be. But it doesn't necessarily mean that I've always wanted to be that.
Because there's, sorry, I'm not cutting it, because I really want to get it, because there's a difference, isn't there? There's a difference in terms of some people seeing this independent woman thing as like a fad, as a kind of trend thing, or when you just really had to do it because needs must. Yeah? So obviously you're the latter then, aren't you? Yeah? Okay. All right.
Because can I jump in here? 'Cause I think a lot of women take they take independence the wrong way, innit? They think it's a thing to, I don't know, throw in a man's face more so than looking at themselves as I am independent. It's normally my independence is to shun you kind of thing. You know what I mean? I think that's how I see it anyway.
It comes, yeah.
I'd say that independence, everyone needs to find their independence. Everyone needs to find self and develop from self. But if you take on an attitude that is counterproductive in that stance of independence, then how do you interact and engage with other people? How do you have a healthy relationship with other people if you've just caught up like, oh yeah, I'm so independent? So yes, it's great to be independent. It's good to be a go-getter. It's good to have for your own. It's good to seek self, explore self. But we have to have balance in it in terms of when we begin to relate to other people and be in relationships with others.
So we're talking about here, what you've said in a nutshell really is, from what I understand, that's emotional intelligence.
Yes.
Yeah, because you got to have that understanding, know yourself, and at the same time be able to then to use that to be able to carve out those productive relationships with other people. Yes. You were going to say, Venice?
I know, because I said independent. I feel like for me, I'm definitely independent, and I feel like the reason why is because I don't want to rely on anyone. I don't want anyone to let me down. I don't want to have to depend on someone having to, provide for me. Or, for instance, if I wasn't independent and I do have a husband and he decides to leave, I'm technically left with something that I haven't built because I've been relying on someone for how many years. Okay.
Let me just cut in there. How would a man then, because it's kind of interwoven, isn't it? How would a man then take that concept of independence? Do you think that makes a man feel threatened?
Yeah.
Do you think it makes a man feel insecure?
I don't know, you know. Do you know why? Right. I think it depends on what type of man.
Yeah.
But I feel like,
Yeah.
like this day and age, let's just say back in the day, women, let's just say like we're going on a date or something.
Yeah.
Now men are expecting women to pay their share or expecting them to do this and expecting them to do that. I feel like we raise the bar, like women, like so much to say, you know, we are on your level. Now men are like, all right, cool, if you're on my level, then you're gonna do
You got
a thing. And I feel, and I hate the fact that women have put us on that pedestal. Because I'm now suffering. But I think a lot of men now like are like, all right, cool, I want my women to be like this. Are we going Dutch? And we're like, So I feel like there's a lot of guys that are, but also in the same breath, men can be a bit jealous because they might not want the woman to earn more money than them and stuff like that. So I don't know.
Okay.
Is it?
Okay, good question.
I wouldn't.
I think that's an insecurity.
Exactly. She took the words. I think that's what it is.
I think the right man would be like, yes, my woman is,
Buying
you know,
me
she is
stuff.
getting it. I mean, the correct man. But like a lot of men feel very inferior to things, even for another woman to pay for them. That can be an issue, you know.
No, but would you say
that can be an issue.
No, we're general because you said a lot of men.
I don't know. Remember what we were saying earlier about perception and what we've come across. So what I've come across is like a man that you're willing to, because you care about them,
to nurture.
Like, you care about them, you like them or whatever. They might find it more of an insult to them that you're willing to, you know, pay for certain things and be like, all right, it's nothing. But to them, they're like, raw, like.
I need to find
you've got it, but I don't have it like that to give it to you. Like, but they might not say that, but like, it just makes them feel a bit like,
okay, what if a man?
I'm not a gal. I'm not her gal. She's supposed to be my gal. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, okay, let me tap into that one second. So what if a man now, like, I'm old school. So what if I'm like, okay, you're taking somebody out, for a drink or whatever, and the guy you're paying the way. Does a woman take that as like, well, I don't want to do this because
then he's blurring the lines. And that's another thing.
What are the demands gonna? Do you understand?
That's another
Is there going to
thing.
be demands on that because now I've taken that power away from that kind of? Does that make sense? There's a certain power taken away from the fact that if you were being independent and then the man says, all right, this is what I'm going to do for you, not in a controlling way, but he's just doing that because that's his nature, that's just how the way he moves. Is that considered as something bad? Is that considered as something negative?
No, I think that's a good thing. But
so
also,
you'll still accept that then?
Yeah, I would still accept someone paying for me, but what kind of, it's not good. But what would also, like, say if someone took me out on a date first time, they're paying for me for everything. Now I'm thinking, what does he want now from me? Like,
but this is what I'm saying.
Do you know what I mean? Like, what do you want? Like, so maybe if I didn't like you, maybe I'll pay for myself.
Yeah.
Because
that's
okay.
Do you get what I mean?
Let me get your take on this.
I'm like, why is it even a problem? Like, if you spend, why is it even a conversation that we're having?
It shouldn't be.
Because it's stigmas of society, isn't it?
Yeah, most
it's
definitely.
what society has put out there because it obviously is a situation. I'm not saying it's a problem, but it's something that, as Jada said there, that if somebody did that, you're gonna say to think, well, what does this person want from me?
But
when all you've done is innocently said, look, you know what I mean? You've paid the one, you've got on with it. It has become an issue, Venice.
But it's that only that the dating life, because if it's your partner, you wouldn't really care. Do you know what I mean? So like, if I had a partner, like if you're gonna spend, you spend, I spend. It doesn't really matter because we're together. But dating wise, like if I like the person, then I don't mind spending. But if I don't, I don't want you to have one up on me. I took myself out. If that makes sense, and you can't say, oh, I took her out on there or I spent money on her.
So that means what I'm hearing now. So that means there's some kind of competitiveness in there. You mentioned something about having one up on.
I wouldn't say competitive. I just don't want it to be the fact that I'm like those other girls that actually use
Okay.
Yeah,
and I don't like,
There's
whereas
girls
I
that-
don't like you, but I've actually paid for myself, so you can't say that I've used you because I took myself out and you just happened to be there.
Yeah, and girls, like what it means to be, like, when we're going back to what it means to be a woman,
That's so
Yeah.
and that there's girls out there that will go out for free meals. Like,
Yeah.
I never want to be deemed that as that person. So,
Okay.
like, get taken out for, you know, just to eat or whatever. So, in order to show the person that you are,
That you're not part of that. Sort
that
of
you're
thing.
not that you're not that type of person, but it can help and hinder you in so many ways, because I think if you're showing too much independence, like you said, where is the balance of someone showing you that type of care? Do you get what I mean? And I think it also goes back to, you know, like that stigma of like being a strong black woman and all of that. Like these females want to be cared for. It's not that they don't want no one to care for them. It's just like they don't want to be deemed as someone that is using somebody or like seen as some sort of purchase. Do you get what I mean? I paid for this, so you must do this
No,
for
I
me,
owe
or
you
must,
or whatever,
yeah, you must owe me or something like that. So it's like there's so many blurred lines with it, and sometimes you can think that someone is being genuine, they genuinely care about you, but it's not that. It's not actually that. They just
So,
you know.
Okay.
so what is there? I feel like it's a question, but I feel like also, so is there blurred lines between independence and feminism?
This whole feminism
question.
thing.
No, but it's a question to the women.
So feminism, what they saying? Like feminism is
Like super independence.
so they're
Make
into
more
I don't.
money, equal.
Yeah, I think there's probably it's a good question, and I think there probably is a bit of blurred line, because I feel like it's good to have an element of independence, like I said,
Of course.
doing for self.
Yeah.
You know, you kind of
Yeah.
like assert yourself. You know what you want. You kind of build yourself. You develop yourself.
Yeah.
But yeah, on the flip side, it can be unhealthy. It can go onto a unhealthy kind of. And I think as well, like by observation of what's going on in society as well, I feel like there's a real air of this whole sugar daddy thing and buying Birkin bags and all of that stuff,
Okay, well,
which
I'm
is
glad-
quite predominant
Yes.
in our culture.
I'm glad you brought that bit up, the Birkin bag thing, 'cause, and the sugar daddy bit actually,
Yeah.
because there's a thing. Venice. Why you
Well, the song that I made.
Oh, you made a song of it.
It was a banner. It's banner. I don't want to
Okay.
go back. I'm a designer.
Yeah.
I'm a designer, so I actually design bags. I design handbags, duffel bags, and backpacks from 3 different collections:
Amazing.
Skater, Suave, and streetwear. So this whole thing about the Birkin bags and stuff, I think women are just jumping on the bandwagon. Regards to it's fashion. It's do you know what I think? With anything that has a price to it, a high price to it, it equals validation. So imagine Birkin bags was like £50 or £100, no one would really care. The fact that it costs 7k and you got a 7k bag, so yeah. But
You must be somebody.
yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, value.
I thought,
Yeah.
It now puts value on who you
yeah, so
are.
it's all about validation and stuff. So
Okay, all right. So, all right, I'm going to get
Making
into
in London, so-
deeper in that. So, do you think then that womanhood, throwing this out, do you think that now in 2020 is over-sexualized? Is it something that you...
oh, sorry.
Go on, go on.
Go on.
Do you know what? I think it's always been sexualized. It's just because it's on the media.
That's what I was
I
going to
said
say.
over-sexualized.
Yeah, it's still the same.
Okay.
But it's just because we see it now.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
And it's easily visible.
It's always been
Available.
over-sexualized. To sell a Snickers bar, I was just saying it before, you have a woman in a bikini, hair blowing in the to sell a Snickers bar. Do you get what I'm trying to
Because
say?
it sells.
It's always been that way.
Anything.
So
Okay. Any takers on this side? Do you agree with what's been said there?
That is,
Do you think it's the same? It's always been the same, or is there a shift now?
yeah, no, it's been like women have been over-sexualized for decades. If you go to, there's museums that's got like women doing madness, like but
When you say doing madness,
like they're, for instance, in Amsterdam. Have you been to Amsterdam?
Yeah.
There's sex museums, and then there's museums
yeah.
with women that. Do you get what I mean? And so it sells, obviously, clearly, but but the access to the access to it is it's instant now.
Okay, so it sells. We've talked about the access. We've said it's always been there, but I'm saying from a woman's point of view, do some women tap into that's the concept and think, right, I'm going to ride this train. I'm going to ride it through because this is going to be a way for me to get from A to B.
Anyone that does that is just, I don't like, for instance, how do I say? I think there's an element of being a woman and being feminine that is always, that's okay, like that's not, but to use yourself as say, I'm a woman and just, you're advertising yourself, displaying yourself to get through in society, I don't think that's only going to take you so far, because if your mind is gone, then there was like, imagine a lot of, in school, for instance, there's a lot of girls out there that were pretty, seen as, you know, and they were the it girls or whatever, but probably now if you see them, they just they look mash up. They look, do you know what I mean? They look, do you know what I mean? You'll be like, oh my God, is that really her? Because that person might have just used their looks for just to get by. And there's people in their 50s that I know for a fact they've just used what they have to get by in life. And now they're just,
but now we're calling them
they have
influencers,
nothing.
we have them all over Instagram doing the same thing that you're saying, but they're getting paid for it. But
They're
I don't know if that's
getting paid
long.
for it.
Exactly.
It's not longevity, because you are going to lose your looks at one point, but you can make money from it, even because you look good, wear this leggings and a gym top and you're modeling, but it's because of the way you look, because you couldn't be fat and put on the same thing. Now they're probably trying to, you know, because
Plus size
and stuff like that, but let's take that out of the equation, because you got a nice body. I know you're going to target the audience not just for men to look, oh wow, she looks nice, but for women, actually I want to be like that. And then you've got loads of young girls that are trying to be anorexic because they want to have that same type of look, or get their breasts done or their lungs done.
Can I interject? Being sexual is a part of its nature. It's when it's gone into or being abused. If somebody has an expression, and I'm not saying like to go out there and you're doing it with, how can I use it? You're doing it with an unclean kind of intention. But we have to embrace your sexuality. You have to embrace it. It's a part of your nature. So if someone has that expression, who are you to wrong them
to judge
or judge them? You know, like the gypsy community, they're quite they dress quite
flamboyant,
but when it comes to their virginity, that's held. So you've got to kind of have a little bit of balance in terms of, like, we should be able to express ourselves. It's just when it's being misused or abused. And how does one know and understand when they're misusing or abusing their body? That's going to come down to their personal growth and their development. So, yeah.
I think that's a good point. Because I think it ties in with what you said before about the fact that social media now has made everything more apparent and more visible and so forth. So it's about the overuse and the abuse that you mentioned there. I think those are the things in there. Yeah. Okay. So to be a woman in 2012, I'm hammering on to this.
I just want to answer that question because I didn't really get to answer it. So I might get stick to the answer, but I'm going to play the advocate for once.
Say it. You got it. Yeah.
I feel like women have to be more understanding than males.
In what way?
In every way. And I'll say why, because they bear children and they don't bear one sex, they bear both sexes. So you, as a woman, you have to, and whether you like it or not, you kind of have to understand the world and what's going on. I feel like the man doesn't necessarily have to. Yeah.
Hey.
You don't think so? Why wouldn't you have to?
Playing devil's advocate.
No, but why wouldn't you?
No, like I said, the woman, remember a guy, generally speaking, you know, guys can disappear, you know, I'm trying to say the woman's left with the child, so. Yeah. Or the children.
So he's not saying that's right. He's not saying that's right.
It's definitely wrong.
He's saying that's
definitely wrong.
Facts.
But that is what it is, isn't it? The woman has to be more understanding, no? Don't you think?
Yeah, but women will bear both sexes, but it's the guy that determines the sex of the child. So that's, I thought I'm good off topic.
No, yeah, I know. Because I'm a bit lost. No, I'm lost. So say what you said again. Like, so
I feel like a woman
Yeah.
has to be more understanding
of
everything, because they're the ones who, look, you bear children is everything, innit?
Yeah,
At the
you're
end of
gonna-
the
that's
day,
your future.
we're gonna be the doctors, you're gonna be the whatever it is, whatever the profession may be. So you have to have an understanding of your world, you know?
But then I feel like the reason why certain things are just all messed up today is because the men are not like stepping up. Because certain men are not stepping. Do you know what I mean? Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, carry on.
Like, so you're saying we have to, but the only reason why we have to is because we are the ones for real that
exactly.
that we think. So if it was the other way around, what a man would have to. Is that what you're saying?
Maybe so.
You're saying that
Okay.
Maybe so. If we were the ones that bear children, then
Yeah.
Yeah, the status quo is saying that the understanding nature
Yeah.
from getting it right has got to be there, because we're not saying it's right. It's not saying, but he's saying that's the reality of the situation, isn't it?
Okay.
I
Yeah.
think
Would you?
maybe what you're trying to say is to be a nurturer.
Yeah.
Because we take, we nurture, we grow, we groom, we.
Yeah. And to be fair, the woman that is not like that, it's just it's mad. If she's got kids, the household is crazy.
Exactly.
Okay, so we talked about we did touched on independence, but to be this independent woman thing, and the sort of challenge or competition then with the guy, would you say what do you see as a woman, as women? Is manhood or masculinity important to you, you as a woman, Elizabeth?
Yeah.
How important is it then?
It's so to me personally,
Right.
man has to know that he's man. Yeah, like I like alpha
See, that's
male.
it's come again. That word has come up again.
However, an alpha male doesn't necessarily mean he has to be like like a man that just knows he's
a
the
man.
man.
And
He
his
carries
presence,
himself.
household.
It doesn't not looking like B.A. Baracus, that's man in your age group, yeah? He doesn't have to present himself and be like, yeah, that's what a man is, but a man could, even if a man was like,
Quiet.
he's quiet, but he's always reserved, but he just asserts himself, you know, or he just carries himself in a certain way. To me, that's still alpha or intelligence.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if I'm helping you here, but I see myself as an alpha male for one. But the way I define my masculinity or my alphaness is my willingness to submit to the feminine with no problem. Do you get what I'm trying to say? I don't have no problem with that. I know why. Do you get what I am? Do you get what I'm trying to say? So yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna
There's
take
balance
it.
there.
No, that's a good balance. Yeah, and it's got to be that way. We are born of a woman, so that has got to be there. If we're saying it the other way around, it's like, well, who are we? But we're not dwelling on the men now. We're going back to the women, right? So from a woman's perspective, Jade.
So you're saying that masculinity, basically, does a man have to be masculine?
No, I'm asking you.
You're asking me if a man has to be masculine.
How important is it for a man to be a man? How important is manhood?
No, it's very important. But then all people's mindset as to what a man is just all over the place. Do you know what I mean?
I'm asking for your mindset.
So my mindset, it's important. And
Okay.
to me, like what you just said, you know, his presence, his ability to be able to sit in a room full of women and not feel no way about it. That to me, that's a man. Do you get what I mean? Not I see your friends there. Let me just go and sit in the kitchen.
Can I,
You know? Do you get what I mean?
That happens.
as well, I think, you know, I guess maybe more so with, I don't know if I was going to say the older generation, but maybe not, is that men do not cry. They're not allowed to cry, and a part of being a man involves that too, because you have emotions.
Exactly, you have
But-
feelings. Yeah.
But apart from that, before we wrap up, because for time now, very good point there. Men cry too, right? Not just about the emotions, but men, we were made with tear ducts.
Yes.
So we've got tear ducts. It's not Okay. Right, guys, look, we're gonna round up. We're gonna have to do a part 2 specifically on womanhood because there's so much to pull out. So to the viewers, look, you've not missed out. Tune in, Real Talk, 24/7. Part 2 of womanhood, what it means to be a woman, coming up next. Thank you.
Thanks.
That's that real talk. 24/7. It's time to hear.